Thank you for being there. This is the Savvy Customer. This is a space in which customer can learn how to become more effective with buying products and services. I am Dr. Bruno Cignacco, university professor. I have been teaching for several decades marketing modules at universities. I have been teaching for several years the module Customer Behavior. I am the author of different business books. I'm also an international consultant. I hope that you like this type of topics, and in this episode, I will talk about different stages or phases of the buying process. We saw in previous episodes that customers, also called buyers, buy products and services to satisfy their own needs. For example, need for hunger, need for socialization, need related to thirst, need related to shelter, need related to self-esteem, and they try to look for products that add value to their lives. So we have to understand that throughout the buying process, customers go through different phases or stages. You have three main stages from the marketing perspective. The first stage is called pre-purchase stage. The second stage is called purchase stage, and the third stage or phase is called post-purchase stage. So pre-purchase means all the series of activities that customers perform before buying the product or service. The purchase stage is where customers buy effectively products and services. And post-purchase stage is the phase or stage where customers have used this product and services, and they make an assessment regarding their needs, were their needs satisfied effectively or not. Let's start with the first phase, pre-purchase stage. During this stage, customers first off recognize that they have a specific need that require satisfaction. We saw that there are different type of needs. Some could be more basic ones, for example, need for survival related to thirst, hunger, and also, for example, sleeping. And you have more advanced need, for example, socialization, need related to self-esteem, self-development, and so on. So first, customer identify that they have certain needs. It's important to understand that not all purchases are the same. We have two main type of purchases, what we call high involvement purchases, which implies high investment of resources. For example, in this specific type of purchases, customer might spend a lot of money. For example, an example of high involvement purchases is buying a house. Buying a house, in these cases, customer will spend a lot of money to buy this house and will take significant amount of time to assess the most adequate house for them. And also this implies high risk purchases. Why? Because in practice, if you buy the wrong house, this is a very significant risk that customers are taking. On the other hand, we have what we call low involvement purchases. For example, buying a cappuccino at the coffee shop. In these cases, customers spend little amount of money. There is low risk in this type of purchases, and customers take very short amount of time when buying this product or services. So this is quite important because the amount of alternatives that customer evaluate, the amount of time, the amount of resources that customer allocate to this purchase will vary from case to case. This will be that in cases of high involvement purchases, there will be higher risk, a bigger amount of resources allocated to this purchase, and significant amount of time. In the case of low involvement purchases, this customer will be investing smaller amount of resources, will be investing also, will be spending a small amount of time when looking for products and services that could satisfy their needs, and also will spend a very obviously will be involved in a very low risk when buying these products and services. So we have to understand that customers, when buying products and services, they are affected by two main factors that are external to them. They are affected by macro factors and micro factors. Macro factors are factors related to the environment that the customer is inserted in. For example, there are four main macro factors. Economic factors. These are macro factors that are very relevant. This means how is the economy of the country where customer is inserted in going? Is it going well? Is it going not so well? Let's imagine that the economy of a country is growing, is booming. So this means that the dynamics of this economy is very positive. In this case, customers tend to spend more on average in economies that are growing. So there will be a much enhanced state of well-being in these economies, and customers might, for example, spend money on products that are not necessities. For example, they might go on holiday more frequently, they might buy some luxury items, and so on. Instead, when the economy is going down, is entering into a recession stage, this means that the economic indicators are very negative. In these cases, customers on average tend to spend less money on products and services, and they tend to give priority to products and services that are necessity, that are basic, that satisfy their basic needs, such as food, for example, clothes, and they spend less on products or services that are not necessity. For example, holiday or entertainment, for example, going to the theater or to the cinema. They will reduce these purchases that are not related to necessities. Another important macroeconomic factor is legal aspects that vary from country to country. Let's imagine that the country will implement new legislation that will ban the use of plastic packaging for the fast food sector. Supposing that the customer want to go and buy a burger, for example, from a burger shop. We're talking about fast food sector. This shop, because of the new legislation, will be obligated to use packaging that is not made of plastic. So this is quite important. This means that customer cannot choose the packaging to be used by this shop, because this shop need to abide by law, need to comply with the new legislation. In this case, legal factors are affecting the purchasing process. Customer should accept the packaging that is offered by this company that should be complying with the new legislation. Then you have cultural factors that could vary from country to country, and some countries have subcultures, grouped with a specific customs, tradition, and so on. What are cultural factors? Include a series of factors that differentiate a group, for example, people living in a country, from other groups, people living in other countries. This factor could be, for example, language, specific language used in this cultural environment, body language, how people express themselves, the way that people dress, typically in that country, and, for example, tradition, customs, typical food, aesthetic aspect, what are the main aspect considered as beautiful and ugly in that specific cultural environment. The ethical aspect, what is considered correct or benevolent in that environment, and what is considered malevolent or negative in that environment. And other aspects. Let's imagine a fast food company that is operating worldwide in different countries. This fast food company, even they might have a standardized menu, this means the same menu that is used in different countries, they might introduce an adaptation of their menu. For example, in some countries, they might offer food that is more spicy. Why? Because this is adequate for the customs, tradition, the tastes and preferences of the country in that cultural environment. In other countries, they might offer much less spicy food, much softer or mild food, because these are the preferences of this specific cultural environment. So in these cases, also you see that customers are affected by this macro factor, cultural aspect. So we saw that there are economic factors, legal factors, cultural aspect, and also technological aspect, macro technological aspect. This means technological advancement that are affecting the production of products and services. Uh, let's imagine that the customer want to buy some editing software. For example, they're writing document and they want to buy some editing software online. We see a very important widespread technological advancement that is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a very popular tool that is becoming more accepted by customers worldwide. And if customers want to buy this editing software, this editing software is very likely to include artificial intelligence embedded into this software. So this means that customers are prone to buy software which include the latest technological advancement. In this case, customers in their purchasing process, they're affected by these macro factors, technological aspects. So, and then we have micro factors. This means that there are specific people around customers that are affecting them directly or indirectly. This could be family, friends, partners, acquaintances, colleagues, and so on. Customers are affected by the opinions, views of people around them. When they buy a product or service, they're affected directly or indirectly by these macro factor, micro factors. This means people around them. In some cases, customers aspire to belong to a specific group. And let's give a specific example. Let's imagine the students that are attending a course at university. These students have other people around them, other students in this course that are affecting each other. They might buy the same books, they might buy the same type of material, for example, for the exams and dissertations. So they're affecting each other. But also these students want to belong, they aspire to belong to a specific group. Which is this group? The group of graduates, people that have already completed the course. So we see that in these cases, customers are affected by micro factors to people around them. In some cases, customers might be affected also by celebrity that they see, for example, on social media or in the news and so on. So this is quite relevant, and customers are also affected by their past experiences. So past experience that could be positive or negative. These are kept in their memories. And also they're affected by their emotions. The customer are feeling very positive. They might think in a completely different way as when they're feeling, for example, a bit sad or angry or fearful. So emotion also cloud the way that people think and perceive reality. Customer will be limited also by the amount of information available in the marketplace and the amount of information that they can access. So imagine that you want to buy a mobile phone. You cannot check every single website that is providing you with information about this mobile phone. You will check always limited information because in practice you cannot check every single website. This will take ages. So this means that some specialists call this phenomenon bounded rationality. This means that the limitation of customers have when making any decision, including purchasing decisions. They are limited by their emotion, by the information that they can have access. In some cases, they are limited by their circumstances. For example, they have very short time to decide. In some cases, they are limited also by their biases. Biases are shortcuts, mental shortcuts that allow customers to make decisions much more quickly. For example, in some cases, customers might draw conclusions very quickly without considering all important factors. So this is a bias, drawing conclusions very quickly. Or in some cases, customers might be guided by stereotypes. For example, a very common stereotype, all Italians like pizza. It's not necessarily true, but customer might be attracted and related to this type of stereotype. Stereotyping is another type of mental bias. Customers are also affected by their beliefs. Belief means what is important for me, what I believe that is true. There is a specific type of belief that is values. This means what is relevant in my life. So let's comment about beliefs. Some customers believe that being environmentally friendly is a good thing. So this is a belief. They are convinced that this is true. Some customers believe that being environmentally friendly is irrelevant. Two different types of belief on the same topic. This means the topic will be care for the environment. There are a specific type of belief that we call values. This means value is what is important for me, what is relevant for me, and what I will try to prioritize in my life. Some customers, for example, when buying products and services, they prioritize practicality. They look for products that make their life much easier. They give you more peace. And well, in those cases, customers will look for products that are more practical. In some cases, that will have more specific technological advancement and so on. So this is quite relevant because customers with different values, this means specific beliefs about what is relevant and not relevant, will make different purchasing decisions. So let's summarize. We saw up to now that customers are affected by macro factors, economic factors, legal factors, cultural factors, technological factors. Customers are affected by micro factors. This means people around them and people affecting them directly or indirectly. They're affected also by their personal experience, what they have in their memory, positive experiences, negative experiences. They are affected also by their emotion, their biases, their values, beliefs. And also we have to understand that in some cases, customers can be affected by circumstances. Imagine that you are queuing to pay your purchases in a supermarket, and near the till you find a chocolate that is on offer. You check your buying list and there is no chocolate on the list. But this chocolate looks very tempting and it's a very convenient price. Many customers will be tempted to buy this chocolate because in that situation, they will find that it's very convenient. So this means that they're making a decision that is very, taking a very short time. And in practice, this decision might have not been made if the product was not located strategically near the till. So companies know this, that in some cases, customers make decisions very quickly and out of the blue because obviously they feel tempted to buy this product or services. So this is quite relevant because also during the pre-purchase process, the pre-purchase stage, a customer will also interact with companies and online and offline. For example, they might go to shops, visit physical shops, for example, a store, offline, and they can also check websites, for example, different online platforms regarding companies. They might check some reviews, for example, online reviews. They might ask for advice from friends, for family members, and so on. And each interaction between a customer and a company, we call this touch points. What are touch points? Interaction where customer can gather some information from a company, either talking to the company on the phone, visiting a store, or checking their platform, or sending an email to a company. This touch point should be positive. This means that customer, every time that they interact with the company, should experience positive emotion. They should feel at ease, they should feel peaceful, they should feel that they are being supported by the company. Throughout the whole purchasing process, which include pre-purchase stage, purchase stage, and post-purchase stage, customers should experience positive emotions. If customer in each of these stages is not experiencing positive emotion, they feel fear, they feel angry, they feel sad, well, customers should evaluate very carefully if this is the right product or they are relating it to the right company. So because emotional sign, in many cases, an unarguable sign that things are going well in case the customer is experiencing positive emotion, or not going so well when customers are experiencing negative emotional states. So this is quite relevant. Customer, when buying a product or a service, if this is a new product or a service, they might consider various options, several options, because for some products there are almost infinite amount of options. Customers should limit what we call the choice set, means the amount of options that they can consider at the beginning, to a reasonable amount. This means that the customer should not start with too many options, because if not, customers are prone to experience what the expert call decision fatigue. Too many options tend to confuse customers, tend to prompt customers to procrastinate, to overanalyze. So it should be a reasonable amount of options, and customers should set very clearly the criteria. Criteria are what are the specific benefits and characteristics and specifications that we are looking regarding a product. Are we looking for product that is economic? Are we looking for high quality product? Are we looking for product with a specific brand? Are we looking for product made of different type of material, and so on? So this is quite relevant, and also pre-select a reasonable amount of options of product that can alternatively satisfy the need that customer is looking for, to satisfy in a reasonable way. This is quite relevant. Customer will never ever find the perfect product, but customer can find the product that is good enough that will meet all these buying criteria. So this means that customer should look for a product that is the best product possible, but will never be the perfect product. Why? Because as we saw, customers are affected by emotion, by bounded rationality, means they have their biases, their beliefs, values that limit their decision-making process. And also customers are affected by macro factors, micro factors, and so on. So this is quite relevant. We saw the customer interact with companies online or offline, and then they start with big choice set, means several alternatives, and then will reduce to few to end up selecting the most adequate product or service that will be good enough, not perfect, but good enough to meet their needs. During the purchase stage, mean the second stage, customers should interact with the company online or offline, for example, on the phone, going to the shop, by email, in order to clarify the terms and conditions of this purchase. Terms and conditions will include, for example, does the product include any warranty terms? Does the product allow customer to replace the product or obtain some refunds or get some repair if the product breaks down? Does the product include the payment on, for example, subscription, means regular payments, regular installments? So this is important to clarify, and customers should be clear about all these terms and conditions. The company should provide these terms and conditions in a very clear and transparent way, avoiding any fine print, means avoiding any conditions that are not clear enough and can trap customers into situations that are not desirable for them. But also during the first stage and until the second stage, during the pre-purchase stage until the purchase stage, companies and customers interact on a regular basis. Customers will have a lot of knowledge about their own needs and preferences, what they want, what they desire, what the, for example, expectations are regarding the product and services, what the criteria are, and company will have a lot of information and knowledge about their own products and services. There is an exchange of these two types of information about the customer needs, preferences, and information about the technical aspect of the product, the benefit that can provide customer, and so on. Different customers will have different preferences and needs, so it's unlikely that the company offers the same product to different customers. So during the pre-purchase process or stage and purchase process or stage, companies should be customer oriented. They should aim to add value to customer in a meaningful way. This means that they should be customer oriented. Try to add value means provide customer with more benefits as compared with the cost that they incur. This is quite relevant. Instead of being self-centered, companies shouldn't be self-centered. Self-centered is when a company is only looking for their profit to increase their sale without caring so much about customer. If companies acting in a self-centered way, they're more prone to manipulate customers. So we want to avoid companies that are self-centered, and we want to choose as customer companies that are customer-oriented. Now, once that customer purchased the product or service, we have, after this stage, purchasing stage, we have the post-purchase. Post-purchase means after purchasing the product and services, and in this stage, customer will assess if the product is meeting their needs or not, if the product satisfies their needs effectively or not. In some cases, customer corroborate that this product effectively meet their needs. In those cases, customer is more prone to become committed to the company, and this customer is more prone to become loyal to this company. Why? Because customer feel, they experience positive emotion that about this product and services that they have purchased. These customers that are satisfied, they're more prone to leave positive reviews online, and they're more prone to, for example, recommend this product to other customers. But customers might also feel that this product do not satisfy their needs. In those cases, customers are prone to ask for a refund, returning the product, in some cases asking for a replacement. In some cases, customers are satisfied, but they are not clear about how to use the product and services. They might ask for clarification. This is quite relevant because after the customer bought this product, company should respond to this customer request, for example, asking for a refund, asking for clarification, asking for a replacement, in a very effective way. The company should be supporting customer after they bought the product and service. If customers do not feel supported, this customer is prone to experience negative emotion. For example, anger, sadness, fear, regret. And these customers are prone to leave negative reviews online or prevent friends, family members, partners from buying products from this company. So this is quite relevant. So this means that customers should experience positive emotion during the pre-purchase process, before buying the product, during the purchase process, and after buying the product. This is what we call post-purchase process or stage. So quite relevant, and customer can only experience these positive emotions when these customers are related to companies that are customer-oriented, customer-focused. This means that they're trying to look for the best, and they try to offer the most adequate product for these customers. So, to summarize, the three stages, pre-purchase stage, purchase stage, and post-purchase stage, are relevant for customers. We will discuss in detail these three stages in further episodes, but it's important to understand that, you see, there is a coherent thread throughout the process, that is that customers need to experience positive emotion. When we say that customers are satisfied, this means that customers are experiencing positive emotion. In some cases, experiencing positive emotion is less evident, but and I'll give you an example. For example, when customers buy life insurance, they might not feel positive emotion when buying this life insurance policy, but they might feel less negative emotion, fewer negative emotion. In these cases, this customer is buying life insurance to provide with some protection for their family members, so in case that they die. So this is quite relevant. In this case, customer is looking for peace, but also is looking for reducing their fear. And what is the fear about? If they don't have life insurance, their relative will be unprotected. They try to reduce the fear of lack of protection in case that they die. So this is quite relevant. And what are the main takeaways from this episode? The main takeaways is that customer first off, during the pre-purchase process, will have to choose a limited number of options, because if not, customer is more prone to be affected by decision fatigue. Should start with several options, then reduce to few to decide for the most appropriate one. Should also relate to companies directly or indirectly through the touch points, means online, offline, going to the shop, checking company's website. In some cases, a combination of online sources and offline sources. Should check reviews, especially in the case of services. We saw that services, you cannot test services in advance. We saw in a previous episode. Check reviews, but also in case of products. And also should be aware that they're affected by macro factors. This means legal, economic, technological, cultural factors, and also micro factors, people around them, friends, family members, colleagues, acquaintances, celebrities, and they're affected by their past experiences, their biases, their emotion, the specific circumstances. This is quite relevant, but also they should be aware that during the pre-purchase process and the purchase process, customers should be provided with transparent information about the terms, conditions. They should be avoiding companies that prompt them to sign contracts that they have fine print, means conditions that could be unfavorable for these customers. And also, after buying the product and services, should assess how the company responds to their needs after they bought the product or service, for either responsive when they're looking for clarification or looking for a refund, looking for a replacement, or not. If not, they have to claim for their rights, but also if the company is not responsive, they can leave negative reviews. Remember that customers have very important power. Why? Because companies rely on customers. Sales are important for companies, and without customer, company cannot sell products and services. So customers are the most important factor that contribute to a company economic success. If customers are satisfied, these companies' sales tend to grow spontaneously. If customers are not satisfied, these companies' sales will tend to go down. So it's important also to set this criteria when you buy a product or a service in writing, so that then you check that the products that you pre-select are meeting this criteria or not. And also assess how you feel throughout the process. Do you feel satisfied? Do you experience positive emotion, or at least you are reducing your negative emotion or not? Is the company customer-oriented? This means trying to help you throughout the process, pre-purchase process, during the purchase process, and after buying the product or service? Or are they self-centered? Are they focusing only to focusing on getting more sales, selling the most expensive product, because in those cases, salespeople will get the higher commission and so on. I hope that you like this episode, and you can find some links below related to this topic. I look forward to seeing you soon. I'm Dr. Bruno Cignacco. Thank you very much for being there. Bye-bye.